Well, it's entertainment news now, and tartan is generally associated with Scotland, isn't it?
Of course, it's running through my veins as we speak.
I was just going to say, but I was born in Scotland, by the way, so hey.
Scotland rocks. What else can we do?
Absolutely. But did you ever wonder why the ubiquitous woven fabric can be found throughout the Caribbean islands, India, and some parts of Africa?
I didn't know that, but apparently a new exhibition in London charts tartan's unique journey through the world and the African diaspora. Rise News Arts and Culture reporter Jason Mansouri was there, presumably in tartan, for opening night.
It's called Tartan, its journey through the African diaspora, and charts how the fabric has weft and waned across the globe, and how the distinctive pattern has influenced traditional clothing, culture and custom in the Caribbean, the US, Africa and Europe too.
Tartan as a fabric is renowned and closely linked with Scotland, just like its bagpipes. But one thing that people don't realise is it also has strong ties to Africa as well. For instance, the Maasai in Kenya, who wear these chukkas.
The exhibition also looks at the fabric's transportation to India and its development into the colourful madras fabric, which forms part of the national costume across the Caribbean islands like Jamaica and Grenada.
It was about trying to bring a story to people that hadn't been told. It was clear that there was a direct link between the madras that was worn in the Caribbean and what was going on and what was being worn for centuries in Scotland. And no one was drawing a link between them in any of the popular press or in any books that I was reading. So I thought, well, let me investigate a little bit more. And once I'd investigated, I understood that actually there's a really strong link.
The display brings a new narrative about the ubiquitous fabric to the forefront, a narrative that many didn't know about before.
I've only known tartan to be associated with Scotland as part of their tradition, and to know that it's got, you know, it has residence throughout the world, especially in the Caribbean for me.
I started on Africa, and now I've woven my way through to Caribbean and now India, and I'm moving up to Scotland.
It also features an outfit from the latest Vivienne Westwood Red collection, which was partly made by hand in a small village in Burkina Faso, and a 19th century military costume from the Black Watch Museum in Glasgow. Run by the Costume Institute for the African Diaspora, you can see the showcase until the 30th of August at the Crafts Central in London. The exhibition doesn't treat tartan's journey to the African diaspora as a gift or legacy from Scotland. Instead, it looks at what Afro-Caribbeans did with what was left behind.
I'm watching this with fascination because I think the Scots have long held on to the patent of tartan. So the big question, where does it actually come from? Even I don't know the answer.
Yeah, well, of course, this is what you're talking about, which is sort of the most commonly known, most popular tartan, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. Maybe Charles too, because you're from Scotland, apparently.
I was born in Scotland.
I had
Never
no
lived
idea.
there.
But essentially, it's been traded since about 3000 BC throughout the Middle East and Africa as well. But what is interesting, though, it's all about the age of exploration. Yeah. You're liking that, aren't you?
It's a nice feel.
Yeah. Drake Michael. No, I could probably give him a head wrap if we tried really hard.
You raise a good point, because it's crossweave, isn't it? That's what it is. And I mean, loads of countries had this, and it was only really, was it the Victorians who actually made it popular in Scotland? Because it was forbidden in Scotland during the clearances.
And I'm sure it's become a very vital part of our tourist economy. All of these things like whiskey and tablet and all the rest of it. Tartan's just another thing that you can exploit, I suppose.
Yeah, but this form, though, was actually popularised, has popularised, like the madras, of course, which is in modern-day Chennai, which obviously is what spread throughout the Caribbean as well. And it was in the 90s, you know, it was only in the 60s when... Yeah, that's all right.
I think we need to sort of just...
All right. No, we're going to wrap it around his shoulders. We're going to make it that side.
Actually, we'd better move on and talk about Michael Jackson, who appears to have returned from the dead.